we're in Boston, or mostly Boston. We're in my interpretation of Boston. In my interpretation of 1931, and it is in November, and the temperatures and the weather of winter have begun to assert themselves, right? And nighttime is unpleasant, and afternoons on the bread line are unpleasant, and more than 20% of the workforce is out of work at this point. And gangland violence is reaching a crescendo. Prohibition is still in effect. So the only thing newsworthy yesterday really was a theft at an auction house, and rumors circulating through the streets saying that it was books that were stolen, large folio, actually larger than the standard folio size books were stolen, which got everybody talking. Why would anybody steal books? What books were they? Were they stealing it because of the fittings or finish, or some secret, some treasure map? And of course, people want to know if Alfred had heard anything about it. But before we spend too much time in this little shop with this large man, we have this unfortunate situation down by the docks.
November 1931 is kind to few, least of all the little guys caught between the cold shoreline, the crummy breadline, and the frontline violence of mobsters and G-men. Every day, the news is so bad that people don't even want to line their clothes or shoes with the papers that report it. But the chill talks them into it. Maybe, if they live one more day, it might be work. Although the suffering and the violence are getting worse every day, the papers take any opportunity to write about something else. Scandals, gangsters, socialists and socialites. Hundreds of small fry jump or get jumped every night. But if one rich guy stumbles,
our two partly nude investigators or journalists hastily pulling their clothing on in this empty of stock warehouse as the two dead men begin to get up from the floor.
Son of a bitch, Cal. And I'm fishing for this little gun that's probably still in my pants, if it's still in my pants or my jacket. And just holding it out. I panicked, and the dead man, the dead one, just started, and I'm just gonna pull the trigger. I'm like panicked out of my mind.
Yeah, and I think until that first shot comes, I think Cal is just sitting there dumb, like he's just like this isn't happening until like that first shot will kind of snap him into action.
Yeah. The thin, dry discharge of a small caliber pistol popcorns into existence in this huge empty space. And the more dead of the two twitches, but continues to walk.
I'm just at this point. I'm just gonna whatever clothes I've got. I'm grabbing my stuff. I'm out the door. Out the door.
Yeah, I am following as soon as he starts running. Cal is out of there.
All right. So as you move across the back wall, which has the door in it where you met on the other side in the street, the two enforcers, right? As you're making your way down that wall and as the dead are slowly shuffling after you, one of them still whispering whatever it was he whispered to Terrence earlier, the door opens. And a well-dressed, not overdressed, but well-dressed man is opening the door. He's dressed for the weather, but like the finely dressed man you met earlier, his face is tattooed with strange symbols. And as he enters the space, the dead stop walking. As he turns his face towards you, as you run toward him, he has no irises or pupils in his eyes. They're just kind of a sick white. And he says nothing, but holds out in a very formal flourish a large, decorative envelope.
Bitch, I'm grabbing this envelope as I'm trying to just get by him.
I'm nudging.
Just push by.
What's it say, Terrence?
Read it later. We'll read it later. Jesus Christ.
It's bitterly cold in the warehouse, but it's even worse outside as the wind hits you, right? The car's parked off down to your left down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the car. Get to the car. Come on. Just pelting the car.
Over your footfalls, you don't hear the door close.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. Let's get out of here.
Eddie has passed out. He's lost consciousness in the car. He is getting blood on your seats.
We got to get this guy to the hospital, Terrence.
All right, fine. We got to get the hell out of here. Just drive anywhere. I'm trying to frantically put the rest of my clothes on. Does this thing have some kind of heat? Cars have heat.
It doesn't work right now. The heat's broken. Just
Eddie,
keep the windows rolled up. We'll be fine.
So you got the windows up. You get the car shaking to life, and you're making your high-speed escape down the street. Yeah.
Fishtailing a little bit as we go because Callum's just like clenching it to get out of there.
Right. And the street has become icy. Eddie's in the back seat. Night? It's still night. Oh, yes.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like we lost too much time.
It's hard to tell because there's no moon and the fog is kind of obscuring the sky. So it could be just before dawn or it could be just before midnight.
Yeah.
But in the back seat, Terrence, Eddie's clutching the book with his bloody fingers.
Jeez. Christ, the crap all over the book. I'm just grabbing the book from him. Plus, I need something to put this little envelope on, so maybe I can.
It's heavier than you remember.
I'm dropping like right back on him. And so I'm very, very slowly turning the book, not spine towards me, but the other side, where the sheets of paper would be, just to see.
About this many pages in it now.
Yeah, now I've just dropped it. Like, it's on the floor or on Eddie. It's on Eddie.
Okay.
Give me some place where there's some light. Let's drive to some place where I can read this letter.
Yeah, it's called the hospital. That's where we're going. There's lights at the hospital.
Now you're sitting there in the back seat. Callum is driving. Eddie's white as a sheet, right? His hair's all matted. And the book you've thrown on the floor, it's kind of open with its fine folding of leather pages, its fine spray, 50, 60 pages. The dead walked. You woke up spread-eagled. It's a little too much. Let's find out how much.
It's not good. That's not good. It's 88 versus 60. That's not good.
Okay. Okay, my friend.
Not any friends anymore.
Let's just say, Callum, that it gets a little quiet in the back seat.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm like, you okay? Terrence, you all right, man? Eddie, you still with us? And I'm like driving as hard as I can, but still like trying to look over my shoulder to see what's going on back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far away is the hospital?
Oh,
Closest hospital.
it's not too far. I mean, it's far from the docks. It's farther than it would have been from downtown.
Right.
But there's no traffic. You're churning away through the nighttime streets. And please remove 4 points of sanity for Terrence.
Yeah, hospital's got a phone, doesn't it? Hospitals have phones, right? Cal? Yeah, hospitals have phones.
Yeah, man. You need. You got to call somebody. We're almost there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
What the hell did you bring me? What you drag me into, Terrence? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I honestly say listen. Either this is like the biggest story you ever stumbled upon, or like we're screwed. Just keep driving.
Well, I ain't gonna stop. You ain't gotta tell me to keep driving. I ain't gonna stop.
Right. You arrive at the hospital. And you're going to check in Eddie?
Yeah, do they have like an ER entrance? Like a where the ambulance go in? Yeah, okay. Yeah,
and
so
at this point you're realizing that it's near dawn, right? The sky is lightening. And there's some activity around the hospital, and newspapers are being delivered, and the milk truck is not truck, but the milk carriage is rolling its way down the street toward you. And the orderlies are very concerned about Eddie's condition and quickly take him off your hand. And you're advised to wait because it looks like violent activity and should be reported.
Yeah, as soon as the orderlies walk away, I'll look at Terrence and be like, "Dude, we got to get out of here."
Yeah, we're out. Like we can make a quick call here.
Yeah, he knows how to get a hold of us if he needs to.
Yeah, he does. He does. I'm in the right place now and bring this book back up. And so, listen, I gotta. Never mind. We don't need to call anybody. Let's take me to Newberry Street. I know what kind of shop has a shop here. I think I want to take a look at this book here.
Okay. Yeah, if you need a phone, we could find a phone, but I just don't think we should hang out here. The cops might show up.
No, I don't think we're gonna need the phone. We'll just show up, and Al will want to see this. I'm sure. He won't mind if I drop in.
Yeah, let's go.
Go ahead. And so I'm just kind of giving the address of Smalls' shop where we can meet this fellow and
All right.
wake him up.
That's an even easier trip. And at the other end, there's even parking.
Nice. It's pretty late, early. You think this guy's going to be here?
Sure. I think he lives above the shop, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. He has an apartment above the shop.
Yeah, so I can do what anybody does at this hour of the morning when they're holding this kind of book and have that kind of night and have this letter that I still need to read. And I'm gonna go up to the door. I know goes a stairway for a shop and pounding somewhat persistently.
So in the quiet apartment of Alfred Smalls, there comes a cacophony of crashing and banging at the shop door below.
All right. He will hear this. He'll kind of make a frown. And then he'll lumber to the get out of bed, take a moment, get out of bed. He'll lumber to the window. I figure there's the door to the shop, and then there's like the sign that says Smalls Antiques. And then there's a second story window that you can kind of look down onto the sidewalk. So he'll kind of pull the curtain just a little bit and see, probably, he figures probably like a drunkard or somebody who's been out, in case of mistaken, who would be pounding on the door of an antique shop at like 5 a.m. So it's got to be either like a garbage man, or a bum or a drunkard or something. So he'll just kind of pull the curtain a little bit and kind of peer out and down and see who the heck is banging on his door at this ungodly hour.
Smalls, it's McSweeney. Get down here. You're not going to believe this.
All right. Hold up a pudgy, one moment finger, and then he'll kind of quickly hasten to his closet so he can put on his dressing gown, his kind of a bathrobe over his self, and over his pajamas, his nightshirt. Find his slippers, and then he'll make his way pad his way down the stairs. They complain as he makes his way down the wooden stairs, gets to the main floor. He'll undo the several latches that he has on the inside of the shop door. Mr. McSweeney, come in. What what brings you at this hour of the morning?
Come on, let me. I'll show you, but it's freezing out here. Come on.
Yes, well, come get in out of the draft. I could put some coffee on.
Good. That's a good. Smalls, McInnes, Smalls. It's Callum.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Yes. Well, please make yourselves comfortable.
Thank you.
Actually, there's no look around. There's actually no down in the shop. The only seat is for Alfred behind the counters. He's maybe we should go upstairs. He'll shut the door and click, 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 lock up the door again. Um, a pot of coffee I can make upstairs. Follow me.
Good. Yeah,
He'll,
we're gonna need a pot of coffee. All right.
yeah, he'll go. You know, this. It's. I'm just picturing this sort of rectangular shop, like sort of crammed with shelving and whatever. And then there's like the curtain section at the back, and you kind of go through that. And he's got like a little makeshift office, and then a stairs that go up to the living quarters up on the second floor. So you go by his little back room, which has like his office. He's got maybe a back door off to an alley where he can take some deliveries off of a courtyard, and then there's like some wood stairs that go up to his living quarters up on the second floor. So he'll lumber, up the stairs, and he'll start fixing up a pot of coffee, and he'll actually start making toast and eggs just because now he's awake and it's time to eat. So and he'll make enough for everybody. So how do you take your eggs? And he'll kind of talking over his shoulder, as he's kind of fixing up the coffee and getting the frying pan going and all this. What brings you to Newberry Street at this hour?
Remember, I think it was in the news the other day about Gavigan's books getting stolen. Those big,
Oh yes, the theft at the auction house. I read all about it.
So turn around.
So,
I'm like holding this thing up.
what have you got? Oh, what is that? One of the stolen books?
I don't know. It's something like it. It's something like it. This used to belong to Albert Gavigan. Probably still does, except nobody knows where the hell he is. Most of them, anyway.
Well,
Most of them.
Yeah. We know where. Tell them the craziest part about that book.
What's that? Listen.
Is that blood on the cover?
Yeah.
What sort of misadventure have you been up to, Mr. McSweeney?
I'd rather you take a look at this first.
Fine.
And then see what you make of it first.
Okay.
Because I don't want to start saying anything that sounds crazy.
Fair enough.
Throwing the book on that, or gently placing the book on the table.
Table. Okay. He'll wipe his hands off. He's got a little bit of egg yolk on his hands, and he'll look at it first. Literally, like look with his eyes, not his hands, at the book. Does it look like it's something that it's going to need a pair of like gloves to? He might actually go for some linen gloves if he's going to actually like handle it. But first, he'll just like with his eyes. Does it look like it's something that would have been stolen from an auction house, or what does this thing look like?
Well, it's a little larger than a foot in height, right? And it's almost square with two thick leather straps with metal buckles. Very thick, right? Very well made, judging by the thick leather cover.
Yep.
But has seen a lot of damage, not just the sticky blood across the cover, but obviously the way that the covers meet at an angle, the number of pages that are currently in it is far less than what it was made to hold.
Okay.
And just off the top of your head, it would seem to be something from the 13th or 14th centuries.
Oh my, this is quite an aged tome. Looks like it's got a bit of a history. One moment.
I'll say.
He'll actually go downstairs, kind of lumber back down. You can hear him sort of taking every step. He'll come back a few minutes, a moment or two later, with linen gloves and some tongs that have like little rubber pads. And he'll actually just kind of carefully examine the book, both as an artifact as well as its contents. I don't. He'd see what languages it is, or what. You just kind of give it a scan. Are we talking? What is it? And he'll kind of as he's kind of going through the book, he'll be speaking aloud, like, oh, obvious, X century treatise on blah blah blah.
Right.
Looks, it's got a bit of wear and tear here, blah blah blah, so that people sort of following on in the TV audience could kind of see what's going on in his mind as he's kind of looking over this book.
Well, the book has impressed into the thick leather cover its name. Very difficult to read unless trained or used to it. You recognize the script as Latin, but highly artistic. Right? It's an illuminated manuscript as soon as you peel back the first cover. And whoever the illuminator was, and they put a little picture of themselves up in the top left corner of the first page, right, was a very artistic individual. This is an incredible work of art, just as a work of art. Its value simply could be measured by the construction of the book and the care taken in its illustrations, except the content of the illustrations are revolting.
Okay.
So there is a name of the illuminator of the manuscript. This would be something that would have to be researched and checked. And the title of the book. How proficient are you with ancient Latin?
Yeah, I actually have. That's the one language. I have other language, Latin, at 70%.
Oh, nice. All right.
So,
Lorem ipsum. All right.
In English, the title of the book is Mysteries of the Worm.
Mysteries of the Worm. Interesting. All right. So,
and other than the illustrator or the illuminator's, the monk's self-portrait in the upper corner, which is just in a standard style, but finely done, of them in a scriptorium with a huge volume in front of them and a quill, and they're looking knowingly out of the page, at the reader. Right. In the bottom right corner of that same page, there's a sigil or seal drawn, which its main feature is a circle like a shield or a boss, with as its main motif is a skull, and around the skull there are roses in various states of decay. So at the very top position we have a fresh blooming rose, and then when we come around to just before it, we have a dead and withered rose on the vine.
Right, like a clock almost. Like you get to the 11th hour and you're very near the total decay. I get it. All right.
Ugh. On the next page is a full page illustration of a group of long-haired, nude, kind of androgynous figures with their arms upraised, standing in front of what looks like an altar, but is depicted as a stone block, like a rough-hewn stone block. They've got their arms up. In their left hand, they're holding skulls, and in their right hand, various medieval images signifying wealth are spilling forth. Not like they themselves are dropping them, but like these things, this wealth is fountaining forward from them.
Yeah. So they're the beneficiaries of this wealth, or okay, I'll be pointing all of this out as I almost half under my breath, but as I'm sort of looking this thing over. I've completely forgotten about the eggs on the frying pan at this point.
Yeah, I think right when you think about that, you look over and Cal's over there He's got a spatula. Then he looks over. He's like, "I used to work at a greasy spoon before I started flipping. Before I started."
Yeah, and in the meantime, I'm drinking my coffee. I've just completely forgotten about any kind of food, and I'm looking over Al's shoulder, and my eyes would go back and forth from looking at the book and then listening to Al to looking at this letter, which is now in my hand, which I haven't yet opened, which I keep on looking like. And I'm sort of absentmindedly starting to like opening this envelope or letter or whatever it is, sort of. But
Terrence, I must ask, where did you get this book? It's a fabulous wealth. It's apparently it's one of the books that was. Did you are you the one who's responsible for removing it from the auction house?
no, it was Driscoll, Ed Driscoll, the PI. I was over his place. I was over his place last night.
How is Eddie doing?
It's seen better days. Right, he'll be fine. He's in the hospital right now. I took a whack to his head, I guess. Well, this is the nature of the business. I'm sure it's not the worst head, knock he's had in his head.
Well,
given his history,
this book is worth is of great worth. Would Alfred know, like, reading about this in the paper? He knows that like the authorities would want this back, like in the auction house would want. Is this like stolen property right now?
Well, it is, and you'd think that they would, and this is maybe why it appeared in a less prestigious newspaper than the Post.
The Herald.
Is that the Gavigan family did not want any investigation. So there's speculation, why were these volumes in the auction house? Who in Boston would steal, like, of all the things in the auction house to be auctioned off, why would anybody steal a bunch of books? Right, is really the way it's been discussed,
right.
Because,
right.
And yeah, there's nothing about investigation is underway, or police assure us that the perpetrators will be caught. It's just the Gavigan family would like all of this swept under the rug, to spur up more.
Well, you seem to have gotten yourself quite an item here.
Well, see, the thing is, Smalls, that's, according to Driscoll, that's not one of the stolen ones. Said Craig, Al Gavigan, not Ed, but Albert Gavigan. He brought it to his office last night. That's what he's telling me. He brought it to his office last night, and he was telling him. And he said something like, Al wanted him to find the other ones, the other ones that got stolen. He was really concerned about getting those back. And
so Mr. Gavigan brought this tome.
Yeah, that's what Ed's telling me.
He brought this Driscoll investigation, saying that it's made.
Oh yeah, Eddie's office. Yeah,
right. So it's mates. This is one of a set, apparently, and it's mates.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I mean, yeah, those are the ones he was stolen out of the auction house, and I guess he was really. He's talking crazy, like Gavigan was really concerned about getting these back, like it was really important, like they were. No, well, not dangerous, but he couldn't. Yeah, he was just real concerned about getting them back. But the thing is, and I'm just peeking over to see what this book looks like now, what the page count in this book is looking like.
Well, now there's so many pages, it's hard to tell how many pages there are. It's not like before, but it's and you, Terrence, in the back of your head, there's still that rustling, wrinkling, crumpling, chewing sound. It's a little difficult to maintain that conversation.
Smalls, you wouldn't happen to have any alcohol around, would you? I mean, it's not exactly legal. It's prohibition.
I might have some I'm not much of a drinker myself, but I might have. My aunt was a bit of a tippler. She hold on. me see if
I got a bit of a chill in my bones. Everyone's like, just something to put in the coffee for a second.
All right, he'll kind of reach up above the pardon me, Callum, and he'll kind of reach up and go behind the kind of the baking soda and kind of push aside a few other items and pull out a bit of whiskey. This might take off your chill, Terrence.
Yeah, that would be. I just gonna put some of that in my coffee there, and
help yourself.
And I'm gonna pour some in my empty coffee cup at this exact moment and just take a swig. So
Mr. Gavigan's trusted you with quite a treasure.
No, nobody trusted me with anything.
Yeah.
No. Let me back up. What I mean is, Eddie. I go in Eddie's office. Eddie's like knocked out, like head against the wall, bleeding. He's down. I see some flash in the light. That's why I go in. I break. I get into his place, and he's talking nonsense. And there's a shoe in the wall, and there's a foot, and there's a finger, and this book didn't have any goddamn pages in it.
A couple plates.
And so I'm pouring myself another cup of whiskey and just throwing back another shot. And I sit down, and it didn't have any goddamn pages in it. Not one.
Feet and fingers embedded in the walls of Driscoll investigations.
Stop calling Driscoll investigations, for Christ's sake, Small. Listen, he was telling me that Albert Gavigan was there in his office with him. There's a big flashlight. I go upstairs. He's not there. And there's like a foot, like somebody's foot with a shoe in the wall and a finger. And he's saying, I don't know where Albert Gavigan is. And we're thinking, well, that's probably part of him. And somebody must have taken him or something. And there's this book, except it didn't have any damn pages in it. And now look at it.
Yes, it's a fine book. You seem a little. Calm down. Have another drink of your coffee. Settle your nerves.
I don't want that. I don't want that much. I'm pouring an actual cup of coffee now, and I got something I got to read. And there's more to it, but I mean, I'm here about the book, and I want to take a look at this letter.
We'll have to spend a little time with this and see what it's about. I suppose we could give it. So you're concerned about what something in the book might have something to do with. So you're saying Mr. Gavigan exploded? Is that what I understand?
No, because if he was because it would have been. I'll tell him. You would know.
Yeah,
he took pictures. He's got pictures. Pictures.
It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. The foot was coming out, like pointing out of the wall, not going into the wall.
Someone kicked through the wall.
No, see, it was like all one piece. It was. I got the photo plates downstairs.
So you went to Driscoll Invest. Now, how did Eddie reach out to you? How did you? Eddie was saying that he had been meeting with Mr. Gavigan, gave over this book, and then suddenly there was a flash of light, and there was a foot and a finger.
I know it sounds crazy. Listen. My editor wanted me to go over to see Driscoll because he knew Driscoll was doing something, because something was up with Gavigan, and Gavigan does crazy stuff. It's news, and news is good. News sells papers, so he wants to go check out, see what Driscoll's got on him, and then maybe it's something to do with these books. But it was just Driscoll's doing a thing. He's doing a thing with Gavigan. Gavigan's news. Any Gavigan stuff is news. And I show up there, and I'm gonna go in his place. And I hear something crazy, but I see this flash of light, and I said, so I want to get up the street. I want to see, oh my God, Eddie's in trouble. I go up there, and Eddie's passed out or knocked out. Wake him up, and next thing you know, we're seeing this book, which had no freaking pages, and then there was a finger on the floor, and then there was a shoe in the wall, and the shoe had a foot in it, and another shoe. But Gavigan's missing. Because they were Gavigan shoes, because it's nice shoes. And Eddie said, yeah, those are his shoes. And Eddie didn't know what the hell happened. And there wasn't any freaking sound when that light went off, which is not important because I'm not here to tell you about that. I'm here to just tell me what the hell this book is. And why is this happening? And why is this book so important? And who would take the other books? because I mean the other books are important, and there's a story here, and it sounds crazy, and like unless I can make all this else make sense, I can't bring a story back to my editor, and those pictures aren't worth anything, and I need to know what the hell's going on, and so does the public. And I just sit down, sort of, just need to know what the hell's going on. Smalls.
Then it sounds like I've got a bit of work to do, looking over this book. Perhaps it does hold. We at least find out what Mr. Gavigan finds so compelling, or had felt compelling, if he's now been blown up or something.
Abducted or something.
Why don't we have our eggs? And once we're fortified with, my mind works best when my body has been fortified with the energy that it needs, the nutrients that it needs. Then, so we'll have a bit of a meal. Get some marmalade up there, some toast, some jams. We'll have a bit of eggs. You might have a few bit of pieces of ham as well. And anyway, we'll have some food, and then I'll spend some time with this book, and we'll see. At least we can get at least an initial impression of what might be so precious about this book that somebody would be willing to steal its mates from an auction house and commit some sort of act of violence in Eddie's office. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds good.
Right.
In the meantime, Terrence, what the heck's in that envelope, man?
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it now and see what the.
But I don't
See what
know
Smiley
if you
gives.
guys give us.
You can tell them about everything else that happened.
I don't even know, man. You don't even know, Al. It was the craziest stuff I've ever seen.
What? There was more?
Oh, there was a lot more. There was a really well-dressed man with some thugs, and then we fell asleep and woke up naked, and there was dead people that were coming after us, and a guy with no eyes. And
And
Cal's
all of
eyes
this-
looked pretty wild.
All of this happened in Mr. Driscoll's office?
No, we were at a warehouse down by the docks. Driscoll's in the hospital now. It's been a wild, wild night.
So you were in the detective's office. You saw this scene of someone, presumably Gavigan, exploded, and Eddie was
It wasn't an
unconscious.
explosion. There was no blood. If he blew up, there'd be blood all over the place. There's no blood.
No blood. Okay, so you were in the detective's office with some body parts and an unconscious detective and this book. There was a flash of light. There was a man with some thugs who
That
entered
was a different place. That was at the docks.
Well, how did you get from the detective's office to the docks?
We drove there.
Why would you go to the docks?
We're looking for Gavigan. We figured maybe Eddie thought that maybe there was. Oh, geez, there's another.
Well-
It's Gavigan's family and a rival family and the shipping and all that. The usual crime stuff.
Well,
The usual
it
crime.
seems like you had already found him in the detective's office, or at least parts of him.
Right. Well, we wanted the other parts. Oh God, this sounds crazy.
So you thought that even though some of his body parts were in
We
Eddie's
want-
office,
We want the important ones.
the rest of him was then down at the docks because
Maybe we didn't find them, but we found
So-
crazy crap, and this is a lot weirder than. Jesus,
So you-
Callum.
you both got to the docks. You left to the detective. Did Eddie come around, or did you leave?
No, Eddie was conscious for a long time. He finally just passed out a little later. Didn't want to come in with us because.
But you said he was passed out in his office.
Yeah, I woke him up.
So, okay, and that's when he was talking about Mr. Gavigan had given him this.
Yeah.
So then the three of you got in your car.
My car.
You got into Callum's car, and you drove to the docks. And then you saw a well-dressed man and some mobster types with him, but
There were mobster types, yeah, but that
mobster
wasn't the
types,
one.
Big
gangland figures. And then what happened? Then they knocked you out? Is that what happened? They attacked you?
They did.
Yeah.
Oh.
They had me in a headlock. I pulled out my gun. Next thing I know, I woke up naked in a strange circle surrounded by a bunch of weird objects. We don't know how we got inside. We don't know what happened.
So you were jumped on the docks. You woke up
Inside of a warehouse.
Yeah, they give us some kind of Mickey or something. Who knows?
So you were rendered unconscious by this group of gangland figures.
Yes, you would make one hell of a reporter, Smalls.
You woke up. Then you woke up. You woke up unclothed in a warehouse. And then what happened?
I don't want to tell you the rest.
Then we got to get the hell out of there.
What else? What's that letter say, Terrence?
Yeah.
Well, you must tell me now. I must know.
Well, I'll tell you. You're not going to believe it.
Well, it already sounds pretty unbelievable. I mean, you might as well keep going.
There were some
Well,
dead
guys, we thought they were dead, I guess.
Maybe they weren't dead. Maybe they were just really skinny and hungry.
Well, dead people don't move.
So you woke up. You weren't alone. There was some other people in the place with you.
You say they were hungry?
What?
They might have been hungry.
I can understand. Hunger is a powerful motivator. So wait a minute. So you woke up in a warehouse.
The hunger.
Unclad, nearly nude, and you were not alone. There were other figures, other people, other victims, perhaps, there with you in the warehouse, and you all together. Is that what happened?
That is indeed what happened.
He tried to grab me, and he kept saying the hunger.
Who grabbed you?
Jesus Christ! That's the old guy. Listen, and then this other guy with no freaking eyes. He hands me this letter.
So a blinded man. Someone
who looks like a blind man to me. Yeah.
Someone who's been disfigured or something. Could be.
Who knows? But tattooed from head to toe, like some guy from the South Pacific. And he hands me this letter, and then we book the hell out of here. Yeah.
So you woke up in the warehouse, nearly nude, with other nearly nude people.
Yes.
A tattooed blind man came out of the shadows and handed you a letter.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. We're trying to get the hell out of here. And
you're making it sound weird.
Now,
you think?
And you had the book with you this whole time. You were waylaid.
Eddie had the book. Eddie had the damn book. We had left Eddie in the car. At this point, I'm going to get the third drink.
So Eddie didn't wake up in the warehouse with you two.
Oh, no, he was out in the car. He was out in the car.
I see.
Yeah, the book, and probably got blood all over the book.
Well, maybe this letter that you have will explain what's going on.
Maybe. You don't mind if I read it now?
Sure.
Okay.
Reading is good.
Open the letter. Free from distraction.
Okay. You open the letter. It's perfectly folded. It's on very fine paper. I mean, you're used to newsprint, right? Just the cheapest of pulp paper. This is fine paper, which almost nestles up against your fingertips in a fine, flowing, scripted hand. 4 individuals are greeted. Terrence McSweeney, Callum McInnes, Alfred Smalls, and the unfortunately hospitalized Edward Driscoll.
Talk about your psychics.
Gentlemen, please keep the book safe. Protect it with your lives. Your lives belong to me. When I need you, you will know it, and you will obey. Faithfully yours, X.
Hey, Smalls. Now, look at this. I just pass him over the letter. Haven't read it out loud. Haven't really said a word other than they talk about psychics, and I just kind of hand it over to Smalls. You mind telling me why this guy? Why doesn't make any? Did you even see Eddie? Cal, Eddie wasn't in the warehouse, was he?
No, he was in the car.
You got because anybody could have found. They could see my wallet. They could see your wallet. They could have got some kind of
Sure, but what
some
about
kind of identification. And
how the hell they know about Smalls or Eddie?
uh,
The letter is addressed to the four of us. That is very strange.
yeah.
You did not mention to anyone that you were coming here. Is it something
I didn't
that
even
you,
know I was coming here, Smalls.
I don't know you from Adam.
yeah.
I didn't even think of talking to you until we were taking Driscoll to the hospital. I was like, oh shoot, I got to call Al to find out about this book. I might have thought about you once before when we were in the office. I was in Eddie's office, but I didn't even say anything out loud. But
There must be a logical explanation for this, but at the moment it eludes me. So let's just roll with it. This is indeed a precious book, and I will. I'll sort of glance over, realizing I don't have my linen, eating my eggs. So I'll sort of reach over as if to caress the book, but then kind of stop myself. This is indeed a precious book, even if we do not have this wondrous letter in front of us. This is a book that is indeed worth guarding and keeping safe. We must find out more about it. What could be so precious about it that
well,
cause all these strange occurrences?
It might drink blood.
would you stop saying crap like that?
I'm just saying, Terrence. I saw what I saw.
Well, most books are black and white, red all over. So,
Oh,
Ow.
sorry.
well,
Right. A bit
no,
of
the three shots of whiskey that I will allow myself a little chuckle at that point.
well,
All right.
The cover of the book, which did have a distinct blood stain on it when it arrived, no longer does.
See?
yes, I distinctly remember when you arrived at my place. It had some blood on it. Now it's clear. It's clean. Fascinating. Fascinating.
Just old leather or something, right? It's just gonna soak in there or something.
Yeah. You ever heard of a blood drinking book?
I have not. There's some strange quality, perhaps, of the leather. Some absorbent quality.
Yeah, see, that's what I was telling you. Absorb it because it absorbs. It's like dry, just like old wood or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna soak up the
It's
moisture.
definitely not paper.
All right. Let's, loath as I am to put any marks on such a wonderful piece of literature like this. He'll actually take a bit of a steak knife, and he'll just kind of prick the fatty part of his heel of his palm there, and just not enough to do like big damage, just enough to do
Yeah.
one little onto the cover of the book, and then he'll kind of wrap his hand in a towel, and he'll just kind of sit back with his hands across his girth and see. Let's see if anything happens. Nothing happens, we'll wipe it.
The crimson drop falls and spatters, as it should, on the cover of the book. A jagged circle. and then it slowly retracts with surface tension, as you might expect, and absorbs into the cover, leaving a small stain, a reddish brownish stain. And the book shifts a little bit, as if
Oh shit!
something heavy fell on an upper floor,
I just lost
and
my
the
freaking
stain is
mind.
gone.
Well, that would be.
See?
It defies physics.
And Alfred, in the back of your mind, not really in your ears so much, there's the sound of rustling or crumpling, unfolding, folding paper, just on the edge of perception. Just
Just lost our goddamn mind. You both have lost your damn minds. Jesus Christ!
Did you? It's obvious. My one drop of blood is as if it had never fallen on this book. And did you see? Was it just me, or did any of you see that slight movement?
Oh, it moved. It
You
definitely
saw
moved.
it as well, Callum? Yes. Well, this is like something I've never had experienced before. I'm intrigued. I must know more about this book. I must know everything.
Well,
A book
Have you
like this must have history.
have you ever heard of this book before? What did you say it was called? The Mystery of the Worm?
Mysteries of the world.
Is that worm with an O or a Y?
Well, it's in Latin here.
yeah, but the word meaning earthworm. Yeah. But it could also mean serpent, I suppose.
I'll have to do some investigating about this most wondrous of books that you seem to have brought into our circle.
Now, on that first page with the illuminator's image and the sigil, there was information about the book. The name of the illuminator and other details.
I'll start reading. I'll start reading aloud, actually, to my two friends.
All right. So again, it's the title.
Yep.
Right. Mysteries of the Worm, as presented to the flawed understanding of the humble illuminator Johannes. Right. The experiences and testament or testimony, something like that, of Ludwig Kryn, crusader and traveler.
as he does, I'm actually starting to write like that name down. Just absent-mindedly, because I write stuff down.
The last detail on that page is kind of a statement, probably by the illuminator, although it's indicated as perhaps being a quotation. It's written in a slightly different way. Know you, who reads this manuscript, that you are now either saved or damned.
Yeah, it's no different than the Bible.
Would this Johannes is Johannes the illustrator and Ludwig Pring?
Prynn would be the source of the information, and Johannes is the person who transcribed who made the book.
Okay.
It's illustrations, it's illuminations, and was its scribe.
Would I don't have any kind of occult lore other than base, but I do have history at
Yeah.
a decent. Would either of this Johannes or this Ludwig Prynne turn up anywhere in the historical? Would I have any kind of even a passing knowledge of those names or?
They don't ring a bell. They're not in active
Okay.
knowledge, but
Yeah. Yeah.
this kind of information is definitely categorized and should be easily found
Right.
during normal
Right.
business hours.
Yes. The Boston Public Library is indeed the library of last recourse for research in the Commonwealth. I think we could make a profitable day of it by researching this Ludwig Prynne fellow.
Oh yeah,
Perhaps
no,
this,
you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I can help with that.
and then there's indeed just the contents of the book itself. So perhaps we should take it and ourselves to the library.
Well, geez, yeah, but you can't let anybody see it. I mean, people are going to be looking for it. But well, people think something got stolen. I mean, they know something got stolen, something big, and then
Well,
this guy wants us to keep it and keep it safe. And I just don't. I mean, you got to be careful with that. I don't think don't let me see it until we know what's going on. And damn it, I'm forgetting the reason I'm here. It's not just about this book, Smalls. It's like, who do you think would have taken the other ones? Where would they be? Who'd be trafficking and stuff like this? I mean, that's your gig. Those are your circles. It's like people that traffic in this kind of stuff, or at least would
well,
pay money for this, or who, you know.
here's the thing: if they've been known to have been stolen from the auction house, its siblings. So there's most reputable dealers not going to truck in stolen materials. However, there is a bit of a lively black market for such things. There are some people of questionable scruples that will, you could call it the underbelly of the American Antiquarian Booksellers Association. They there are few that may interest themselves in such trade. I would have to make some inquiries, some
Right.
discreet inquiries.
Yeah, I think that's Yeah, I think that's what we need to do, just to kind of. I think there's more to it than this. I mean, I'm here for the damn story. I mean, that's what I start out for. Isn't that what we start? I mean, Cal, come on. There's a story here.
Oh, there's a big story, and
It seems, I hold up that mysterious letter that you, seems like we've found ourselves in.
Yeah. Yeah.
what time does the library open?
9 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, if you give me those take those names down. I mean, I can start looking this stuff up while you may make a couple inquiries, discreet inquiries to people that also
Yes.
might have
Yes, yes.
contraband liquor for their mother or aunt. That you got to know somebody. Come on, that's why I'm here.
Well, that's what I'm going to see about. If I can make a connection with anybody in my circles who may know more about the stolen copies of this book. It might be best if the book stayed here in the shop, where we can keep it safe. We don't want it seen by anyone, so we could keep it up here. Or I could keep it. Down in the shop behind the counter and study it discreetly between customers, that sort of thing. I'd like to give it a read, see what might be so precious in this tome.
Do you have a strong box or anything that you put valuables in?
I do have a safe. Yes.
Yeah, I think it should be all right in there, right,
It's in
Terrence?
it's in the office section at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Anything else you think I should look up if I go to the library while you do that? Anything?
Well, you could look up
The
the
print.
title of the book itself, "Mysteries of the World."
Yeah, I suppose that I could do that.
English, and Latin. And given that Ludwig Friend is a German name, it might come up in German. You may have to check with the reference librarians. They might.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. Maybe I can check. Maybe I can check some of the paper archives too and see if anything pops up on some of this stuff. And maybe I can do that too.
Maybe check the dailies. Find out if something strange went down at the docks last night. Do you think
yeah, something did.
Your
But,
nearly
yeah,
new kids on the wharf may have been recorded in some fashion?
maybe.
Yeah, we should look through the papers just to see if anything shows up.
At the mention of that, Callum, there's something. One of those men, the disrobed dead men, it's been niggling. Looks familiar, like not like someone you know, but like they look like someone you know. Like a father or an uncle, something like that, some kind of strong family resemblance, something around the eyes and the nose. But the gang that used to control that part of Boston, maybe one of the top men in that organization was that dead man, like someone you didn't meet personally, but you definitely met his brother or his whatever. A strong family resemblance.
Parents, you might also want to look up Mr. Gavigan himself, see how he may be connected to this book or even other activities. Maybe there's a part of his life that has been chronicled in the papers.
What part of Gavigan's life hasn't been chronicled, but yeah, I can look and see if it's maybe cross-reference something. I don't know. It's all crazy.
Would Callum know the name of that higher up?
Yeah. Another classic Irish name, right? He isn't the head of the gang, but he's higher up. He's a Mickey, right? One of the many Mickeys, but he's an O'Shaughnessy. Right. And his nickname, because there's so many Mickeys, his nickname is the Fist. His penchant for dealing out mob justice is to literally beat people to death.
Any moment. So something's been bugging me, Terrence.
You don't say.
I mean, on top of everything else, I don't know if you notice, but one of those skinny, hungry guys looked a lot like Mickey.
Mickey?
Yeah, O'Shaughnessy, one of the bigger guys in the old mob.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just telling you what I saw. And I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. We got dead mobster zombies. We got blood drinking books.
You tell me I shot at the Fist? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, if you did, it didn't do nothing.
What's this about zombies?
But no, don't worry about that. They weren't zombies. They were just hungry. Skinny. Very skinny.
Right. Skinny people that you woke up with in the warehouse, right?
Naked. They were also naked.
You were all naked in the warehouse.
Jesus, you're making it sound crazy.
And Terrence, you shot one of these people?
Shot at one. Listen, when a dead guy sits up, sometimes you
What?
shoot at him.
I thought you just said they were just skinny, hungry people. Now you're saying they were dead?
One of them was dead. One of them wasn't dead. One of them tried to bite me when I tried to help him out of the damn place, and the other one was dead, just dead. Dead.
All right, so some of these nearly naked people were expired, and others were nearly so. And you're saying one of them made a lunge for you? Is that what it is? And then
Yeah.
in self-defense, you fired your pistol. Is that right?
No, I just pushed myself away from him. But then the freaking dead ones sits up. That's not. I mean, he looked dead.
He looked dead. So
It was a rough night.
It was a long night.
I don't want to talk about that anymore. I really I think I'll go to the library. What time is it?
yeah, we've got another 2 hours at least before the library opens.
Let's read some more of the book then. Let's see if there's anything else we can go find out.
Oh,
I can look up.
yes, I think that would be good. Sleep is out of the question now. This is too fascinating.
I'm going to start brewing another
Are you
bunch
all
of coffee.
auditory effect with this? Seems when I get near it, I hear the sound of.
What?
Oh, nothing. Must be just.
No, what'd you say?
Well, now it's my turn to sound a little unbalanced, but we did see it literally drank a drop of blood, so maybe, well, I'll just be out with this. I'm hearing as I get near the book and as I contemplate this book, I'm getting a bit of a sound in my. It's almost as if it's a memory of a sound of as if someone was riffling through its pages. Someone sort of fumbling at parchment, sort of an echo of papers. Very strange.
Yeah. That crinkling sound right in the back of your head, right?
Are you experiencing this as well, or am I? I don't mean to influence you with the power of suggestion, but it's something that seems to be on me.
At this juncture, I am not making any show of pouring whiskey into the coffee cup. No, that's impossible. I must get a headache or something. I just keep on.
So, as the post-breakfast discussion turns to possible avenues of action tied to the need to wait for the rest of the world to wake up around you, as the conversation touches on these touchy points of is it or is it not real? Is it or is it not possible? That sound from Eddie's office drags its way across your consciousness. The heavy step and the long sliding drag. From a distance, farther away than before, like you're in a hard concrete or stone hallway, you at one end and this sound at the other, slowly moving away. But this time there is one subtle difference. There's the warbling note of a brass instrument played in a sultry jazz style. And there's the unabashed, open weeping of an adult man.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, that was
That was
awesome.
great. That's great. That's
Al,
great
pretty
stuff.
awesome.
I love Smalls.
Al's pretty awesome, man.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. I think the challenge is going to be playing somebody who's smarter than I am. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely like he's got his scores. Like, I you know, pretty straight down, and he's very bright. So, I'm going to have to try to. I'm just going to have to try to kind of reach for his level of intelligence.
My method when I get that, when I'm faced with that, is I think to myself, well, a lot of times I try to come off as smarter than I am. So let's just act like that.
Just do that.
But,
Anytime I found myself, forming an opinion and telling people about things I don't really know, like, okay,
Yeah.
let me capitalize on those moments and really push them a little further.
Every day.
No, I just
you guys did a masterful job of playing two very rattled people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it just all came tumbling out, and there was a lot of like, well, when did this happen? And wait a minute, what's the, it wasn't this.
Everything was backwards.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, then this happened, then we did this. Almost like a very book report of what did I do on my first session? But you really made it this kind of tumbling in the door and all discombobulated and upset and impatient and so
don't ask me about this part. I don't want to talk about this part. Okay, I'll tell you about this part, but don't ask me about the next part.
Listen, yeah,
exactly. Were these guys dead? Were they not dead? It wasn't like this clinical breakdown of like, well, I think he was dead because he wasn't breathing, but then he had this wound and blah blah. It was it was like, no, it was just very kind of like two people who've actually been through trauma, like just some.
It feels that way, man. Because I tell you what, I've spent a lot of time in McSweeney's head so far, and so that just stuff just came out. Because I was like,
yeah,
you get McSweeney's head for a little while, and have the kind of he's had. There's no acting involved there. I'm like, man, just come on.
That's great stuff.
Where you goddamn pages in that book?
In terms of how the game worked, right? I've got your character sheets. I'm looking at your values, and I take the under normal circumstances, you should be able to do the thing your skills say that you can do without rolling. So I hope you don't feel like you're not rolling because you are coming up against your skill and being able to do it so far.
Right. No, that's great. And I don't want to be a system nerd about this stuff. Like it does remind me of a lot of like Delta Green and that the Delta Green system that does that. Like says if you have a skill at a certain level, there's really no need to roll. It's just sort of like you would be able to do this. The Cthulhu Eternal game does something very similar. They've actually borrowed the Delta Green system, kind of filed off the government stuff, and made it more of a generic thing. So I don't want to be all system geek about it, but that's what it reminds me of that kind of mode of play, where you're not necessarily rolling for every little thing.
And it should remind you of that, because this really, as far as I can tell, is where that comes from. Like it goes all the way back to the beginnings of BRP, way back in the 70s. So,
wow.
It's just one of those things that it's just a sentence, and then it becomes two sentences, and then it goes back to being one sentence, and it just gets.
Oh well.
No,
I'm going to drive to the store. Quick, roll your percent. I only have a 22% to drive.
Right.
That's your fault.
Right.
But any ideas? So we've got the library. We need to go to the library and other resources of that type.
Yeah.
And are we going to go talk to the mob?
I mean, if Callum has some ties, like some low-level ties, he'd definitely be down to ask around.
Okay.
Like the Irish mob?
Yeah.
Yeah, Callum
They
can
might
go
be
talk.
willing to talk about things that they're upset about these days.
Yeah. If it's a guy, Callum, he knows a guy who knows a guy. He'll definitely go talk to the guy.
Right. And in terms of what everybody knows about the Gavigans, they're wealthy. No one really knows where their wealth came from and how it's maintained. They've always been rich. Right. The more famous brother is Edward Gavigan, but he often travels and hasn't been in Boston for. It's possible at this point he hasn't been in Boston for years. Right. Like he's not a high profile playboy type always in the paper. He's the older brother. When you think of the Gavigans, you think of him, and the
That's Eddie,
father
right?
is much
Edward?
older and has retired from public life and that kind of stuff.
That's Edward Gavigan. Is that
Edward, right?
Right.
And so
The respectable Gavigan.
yeah, if there's a ribbon cutting or something like that, people would ask for Edward, and they would get Albert, right? Or Alfred, yeah. And he'd come out and he would cut the ribbon and look uncomfortable, and then disappear. He's more of a recluse, but he does the donations to charity, and he shows up at the opening of some factory or whatever, right? It's him.
And that's the one that went to Eddie's office.
Yes.
Okay.
To quietly deal with this book problem, and has subsequently disappeared. And possibly the only people that know he has disappeared are you three and Eddie.
Are they philanthropists? Do they have like a building or anything in Boston?
It should be very easy to get in touch with their lawyers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to do that. I was just curious.
Yeah. But
Talking to the lawyer,
it's not like they're building railroads and libraries and hospitals like certain other very wealthy families. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Gents, I must depart. Thank you very much for giving me some of
thanks
your
for
time.
running.
Great fun.
Yeah, thanks everybody for playing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on board, guys. This is great.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'm going to see you next time.
And the Massachusetts accent is so believable. I'm really
Yeah, that kind of I can't turn that one off. That's just sort of
that's cool.
hurts my mouth, pronounce my eyes. That just hurts.
I got you. That's pretty good. All right, man. Yeah, I'll see you next week.
Our next session, Joe and I have a previous appointment for this day next week.
Okay.
So in 2 weeks, is that possible?
Yeah.
Good for me.
Good.
I'll have to check, but probably.
All right. So we'll keep in touch through the fortnight, separating us between now and horror.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Have a good night.
Take it easy.
Thank
Take
you.
care.